करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। भवानी शंकरौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरम्। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन कृतितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः। प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्ससुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ Shivaya, Om Namah 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 Shivaya, Namah Parvati Pataye, Har Har Mahadeva. Is the sound okay now? Hari Om. Today I will speak on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It's a very beautiful text. So I will just introduce this beautiful text to you. Many of you must have heard this many times, but even if we have heard, we should hear it again and again till the teaching becomes very clear in our mind. Because only when the teachings are clear, we can follow them properly and benefit from them. In Vedanta, they talk about the Prasthantrayi. Prasthantrayi, the threefold important text of Vedanta. Prasthan means departure. Departure from where? We have to depart from this samsara. We have to reach our supreme state of enlightenment. We have to attain our own nature as Brahma. We are now tied down in this samsara. Samsara is nothing but a constant world of change, taking birth again and again in this world and dying, coming in different forms, experiencing the joys and sorrows. That itself is called samsara. So we have to, if we want to depart from this samsara, if we want to attain our own spiritual state of enlightenment, if we want to depart from this samsara, we need some support. So Vedanta talks about threefold support, threefold important texts. The most important, the first is the Vedas, and in the Vedas the Upanishads. So Upanishads are the supreme praman, the supreme text which help us to become free of the samsara. There are many Upanishads, but 10 Upanishads are very important, on which Bhagwan Sri Shankaracharya ji has written commentaries. And if we take guidance from these 10 Upanishads, we can become free of samsara. Not only all the Upanishads are important, but even if we take support of one Upanishad, that will help us to become free of all our bondage. There is a very famous shloka in Muktiko Upanishad which says that even one Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, is enough for a mumukshu to become free. Mandukyameva alam mumukshunam vimuktaye. But not very easy to comprehend these Upanishads. We need support, we need guidance, we need some teacher to help us to understand. Some various teachers are there who not only preach but who have also written commentaries on these Upanishads. And one of the most fascinating and the sublime commentaries on these Upanishads are by Bhagwan Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Upanishads that are in the Vedas. Vedas are Anadi, Ananta, Apaurisheya. Anadi means beginningless. Ananta means vast, infinite. And Apaurisheya means not of human origin. The Upanishads are not a product of human intellect. They are revealed. The essence of these Upanishads are revealed in Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is another Prasthan, one of the Prasthan-3, one of the 3 important texts of Vedanta. And the third one is Brahma Sutra. So Bhagavad Gita is a very important text for those who want to become free of the samsara. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji has written commentary on Bhagavad Gita also. So today we will just briefly see Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji's commentary, the introduction which he has written to Bhagavad Gita. In the introduction, in the beginning, Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji remembers the Supreme Reality, the Supreme Being, Sri Narayana Bhagwan, who is also called Brahma in the Upanishad, is also indicated as Narayana, as Paramatma, as Bhagwan. So Shankaracharya ji writes कि ओम नारायण परो व्यक्ताद् अंडम अव्यक्त संभवम् अंडस्यांतस्त्विमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी. He says that Narayana Bhagwan, who is Sakshat Brahma, is beyond Avyakta. Avyakta means unmanifest. See, we see this world around us, it is manifest. When we see the world, we not only experience the world, inert world outside, but also various types of living beings. So the living and the non-living, this whole vast cosmos, this vast universe is manifest now. But our scriptures say that it also goes into unmanifestation. So this world undergoes a cyclic process. It comes into manifestation, it remains in manifestation for some time, and then again it becomes unmanifest. So coming into manifestation is called Srishti. Remaining manifest for a long time is called what you call Sthiti, and when it goes back to unmanifestation, it is called Laya. So Utpatti, Sthiti, Laya, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. This is the cyclic process of this world. So the world comes from the unmanifest, remains manifest, and again goes into unmanifest. But where does this unmanifest lie? What is this unmanifest? This unmanifest, what is called a Vyakta, is the power of that Supreme Brahma. And that Brahma is beyond this unmanifest. So Bhagavan says, Om Narayanaha, that Brahma Narayana, Paraha Avyaktad, is beyond unmanifest. And Andam Avyakta Sambhavam, and this whole Anda means this Brahmanda has come into manifestation from that unmanifest. And Andasya Antasvime Lokaha, and in this Anda, in this whole cosmos, there are various lokas are there. Many lokas means various worlds are there. Lokas are different worlds of experiences. See, just like we are on earth, this is called Martya Loka. Here constantly we are born and we die. In fact, every moment we die. Every moment, or trillions of cells which are there in our body, millions of them, they die. And again, new cells are born. So we see in this world, people are born and they die, living beings. Many different types of beings are born and they die. So therefore this is called Martyalok. But once we leave this world, according to our karma, we go into different worlds also. We can come back to this world, or we can go to some higher world or lower world, like Swarga or Naraka. So various worlds are there. So within this cosmos, various worlds are there, and in all these worlds there is this Prithvi, which is also called Medini or Saptadvipacha Medini. Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji says this Prithvi is Saptadvipa. There are 7 islands or 7 continents. See, during Shankaracharya ji's time or in our Vedas, these 7 continents are mentioned. So there are 7 continents on this earth, and this beautiful cosmos is there. This whole thing has come from that unmanifest, but that unmanifest is the power of that Supreme Brahma. So Bhagavan, having projected this world, having given birth to this world, Bhagavan also gave rise to, from Bhagavan came those Vedas. Vedas are knowledge which guides the living beings of this world. See, every being is guided by knowledge. Just like we human beings, we are also guided by our knowledge, our understanding, which we gain through our senses, through our mind, through our intellect. We gain some knowledge, and based on this knowledge, we act in this world, we interact with this world. Similarly, other beings also are guided by knowledge. That knowledge all the time need not be expressed only through the brain. only through the senses. It remains at a subtle level. The same knowledge which guides a human being, similar knowledge guides the plant also. Plant may not have a brain like a human brain, but the plants are also guided by knowledge. Animals are guided by knowledge. Even a tiny little being, microbes and bacteria and viruses are also guided by knowledge. The knowledge motivates action. So that knowledge is also Anadi Ananta Paurusheya. That knowledge is called Vedas, and these Vedas are also part of this universe, part of this cosmos. Bhagwan who created this world, from that same Bhagwan, these Vedas have also come into manifestation. In the Vedas, Shankaracharya ji writes, there are two types of dharma. Vedas are the dharma granthas, and in the Vedas there are two types of dharma. Dvividho hi vedokto dharmaha pravrutti lakshano nivrutti lakshanascha. There are two types of dharma, two types of knowledge which are given in the Vedas. What are the two types? One is called pravrutti dharma and another is called nivrutti dharma. Pravrutti dharma teaches us how to act in this world, how to live in this world, how to interact, how to understand this world, how to act in this world, how to live in this world, how to progress, how to attain success, how to evolve, how to purify ourselves. So this pravrutti dharma is a path of action. It keeps us in this world. It makes our life more easy and better, and it helps us to deal with the different situations of life. So this pravrutti dharma is taught to all beings, or it is conveyed to all beings through the Vedas. Means what conveys this pravrutti dharma are the one aspect of this Vedas only. But as a human being, when we evolve, when we live in this world, when we evolve, when our mind becomes more and more pure, we also develop a desire to become free of all this karma. We want to become free of constantly taking birth and dying. We want to attain a supreme state of peace and happiness. This desire is inbuilt in us. All of us knowingly or unknowingly strive to attain supreme peace, supreme bliss, freedom from all bondage, freedom from all sorrow, pain, trouble, fear. This is there inbuilt in us. This desire is called desire for moksha. It doesn't get manifested all the time, or it doesn't get manifested in everyone in the same degree. But a time comes in our life when we feel a sense of dispassion toward this world, towards all activities, towards constantly taking birth and dying. We come to understand the limitations of this world. We come to understand that the world has many things to offer, but the world cannot offer us supreme peace and supreme bliss. Hence, that desire arises in us to attain that supreme bliss and become free of this bondage of this world, bondage of karma. So, to such people, those who desire moksha, the Vedas, they guide them on the path of withdrawal, on the path of nivritti, it is called, on the path of meditation. So that is called nivritti dharma. So pravritti dharma and nivritti dharma, these are the twofold dharma mentioned in the Vedas. As I said, path of action and path of meditation. Path of action makes our life more peaceful and happy here, but still we remain bound to this world. Path of action gives rise to all around prosperity. Our life becomes better, but still we are bound. It's like we are in jail, but our life in the jail becomes better. But people desire to become free of that jail. So if you want to become free of this samsara, there is this path of nivritti, nivritti marga. That nivritti marga is a path of meditation. In Vedanta, it's called nididhyasana, or it's called jnana nishtha. So this twofold paths are given in the Vedas. Bhagavan revealed these Vedas to human beings, to great Rishi Munis. But with the passage of time, people tend to forget the teachings of the Vedas. So in the Dwapar Yuga, during the Mahabharata time, during that time also people had forgotten about the twofold path of the Vedas. People had become more and more tamasic, more and more negative. Adharma started spreading all over. So whenever there is a rise in adharma and fall of dharma, Bhagavan takes avatar. Bhagavan manifests himself. So in Dwapar Yuga, Bhagavan manifested himself as Sri Krishna. In Gita itself, Bhagavan has mentioned this. He says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham. That whenever there is decline in dharma and rise in adharma, I manifest myself. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Bhagavan says, in order to protect the good, destroy the evil, and to establish dharma, this twofold, pravritti nivritti dharma, Bhagavan says, I manifest myself. So taking his own prakriti, through his prakriti, Bhagavan appears to take birth and appears to bless this whole world. Shankaracharya ji, he writes, कि सच भगवान नैनेश्वर्य शक्ति बल वीर्य तेजो बिहि सदा संपन्नः त्रिगुणात्मिकां वैष्णवीं स्वां मायां मूल प्रकृतिं वशीकृत्य अजः अव्ययो भूतानां ईश्वरो नित्य शुद्ध बुद्ध मुक्त स्वभावः अपि सहन स्वमायया देहवान इव जात इव च लोकान अनुग्रहम कुर्वन इव लक्ष्यते. So that Bhagavan, Narayana, that Brahma, who is endowed with Jnana, Aishwarya, Shakti, Bala, Virya, Teja, who is the Lord of this entire creation, taking his Mula Prakriti, he manifests himself in this world. So Bhagavan took this avatar in order to establish this dharma, And one of the most beautiful thing Bhagwan did was teach this dharma, which is given the Vedas in simple form to Arjuna and through Arjuna to all of us. So tam dharmam bhagavata yatha upadishtam vedavyasa sarvajño bhagavan gitakhyahi saptabhihi shlokashataihi upanibandha. That same dharma which Bhagavan revealed to Arjuna is put into beautiful verses by Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa is also Bhagavan's avatar. Vedavyasa put it in beautiful shlokas in the form of this Bhagavad Gita. There are the 700 verses here, and Shankaracharya ji says that it's the essence of the Vedas, teachings of the Vedas. He says, Tad idam Gita Shastram samasta Vedartha Sara Sangraha Bhutam Durvigneya Artham. That this Gita is the Sara Sangraha of the entire Vedas. And he also mentions that it is Durvigneya Artham, it is not easy to comprehend. Not very easy, because it's very subtle, very deep, very sublime, the very essence of the teachings of the Vedas. So the Vedas talks about the pravritti dharma and nivritti dharma. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita also talks about pravritti and nivritti dharma. Means the Bhagavad Gita tells us how to act in this world and live peacefully in this world, and also it teaches us how to meditate and transcend this world to attain our supreme state of God realization. It teaches us how to live in this world as a wise person. It also teaches us how to live in this world as an enlightened person, as a Jivan Mukta. So it's a very beautiful teaching. Bhagwan says, he says that tasya asya Gita Shastrasya Sankshepatāh prayojanam param nishreyasam sahetukasya samsarasya atyanta uparama lakshanam. He says that the main prayojan, the main purpose of the teachings of this Bhagavad Gita is to attain that supreme state of enlightenment. Param nishreyasam sahetukasya samsarasya atyanta uparama lakshanam, and to destroy the samsara, the cause for this samsara, completely from its very root. See, as I said, what is samsara? Samsara is what we are experiencing in this world. Samsara is experience of constant change. Samsara is experience of death. Samsara is experience of limitation, sorrow, pain, fear, different types of afflictions. That's called samsara. And the main cause for this samsara is ignorance of our own self. We don't know who we are in our essence. We don't know our real nature. So when we come to realize ourselves, the main cause for this samsara gets eliminated, we become free. And how this is attained? Bhagavan says, कि तच्च सर्व कर्म संन्यास पूर्वकात् आत्मज्ञान निष्ठा रूपात् धर्मात् भवति. That one can gain this enlightenment by gaining atmajnana, nishtha. See, Atmajnana, knowledge of our own self. We come to understand who we are. There are 3 steps mentioned in the Vedanta about how we can know ourselves. First, we have to hear about ourselves. We have to do Shravana. We should know who we are with the help of the scriptures. Because though we experience our own existence, we fail to know our real nature. So all of us experience our own self. It is not hidden. Other things in this world might be hidden, but self is not hidden. We cannot experience anything without first experiencing ourselves. We hear, we see, we taste, we touch, but all the time in all these experiences there is experience of I. I hear, I see, I taste, I touch, I smell. Even when we experience something through our mind, through our intellect, we simultaneously experience our own existence. I feel, I know, I don't know. So that experience of I is constantly present. But the scripture says that I is supreme bliss, but I fail to experience that supreme bliss. Scripture says that I is infinite, but I experience myself as bound to this body. The scripture says that I is subtle, but I feel I am this body which is gross. So though I experience myself, my own existence, I don't experience or I am unaware of my real nature. So Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji says that first you gain knowledge through Shravan and Manan. Because if something is very clearly seen and experienced as existing, but we don't know its nature, we have to get help. We have to ask someone. For example, if you see a beautiful flower in front of you, you can smell the flower, you can see the colors of the flower, you can even touch it and see how smooth and how soft it is. But if you don't know the name of that flower, however much you may look at it and keep smelling it, you will not know what is the name. You have to ask someone who knows about it. Similarly, we experience our own self constantly, but we fail to experience, we fail to know our own nature. We have to ask one who knows. And who knows? The Vedas knows, Bhagavan knows. And how to speak to Bhagavan? He speaks to us through the Vedas, through the Upanishads, through the Bhagavad Gita. So through this Bhagavad Gita, we will know ourselves. So the first step is to do Shravan, listen. Second is to do Mananam, think, reflect, contemplate and understand what is said. And the third step and the last step is Nididhyasan. After understanding, after knowing my own nature, we have to meditate and gain abidance in this nature. We have to assert our nature. See, just as the example is given of a chandan, sandalwood, it has got great, wonderful fragrance. But if it is kept in water, it forms a very slimy layer over it, and it starts smelling bad. So we have to dry it up and rub it, and once we rub it, again we get the original smell of that sandalwood. Similarly, though we are supreme bliss and peace, but there is a layer of misunderstanding over our own self, which we have to eliminate through Shravan and Manan, by listening and contemplating and understanding. So, the path of karma, path of upasana, also Shravan and Manan, all this comes under pravritti marga. Once we gain knowledge, thereafter begins the path of niridhyasan. This niridhyasan is called nivritti marga, the path of withdrawal, the path to transcend this world, the path which helps us to transcend our body, our mind, our intellect, and to gain abidance in our own self. Bhagavan says, Tatcha sarva karma sannyasa purvakat atmatjnana nishtha rupat dharmat bhavati. We become free of this samsara, we attain our supreme nature by gaining abidance in that knowledge, by renouncing all other activities, all other karmas and upasanas, and gaining abidance in this knowledge. Jnana nishtha. That jnana nishtha is very important and interesting. Bhagavan says this twofold dharma, it has got twofold benefits. He says कि अभ्युदयार्थः अपि that pravritti dharma, Bhagavan says, is jagatah sthiti karanam praninam sakshat abhyudaya nishreyasa hetuhu yas dharmo brahmanadyahi varnibhihi ashramibhihi cha shreyorthibhihi anushtheyamanaha. This pravritti dharma gives rise to all round prosperity, and nivritti dharma gives rise to abidance in the self. He says this pravritti dharma, if we follow with desire, then we can fulfill our desires. He says कि अभ्युदयार्थः अपि यह प्रवृत्ति लक्षणो धर्मः वर्णाश्रमान् च उद्दिश्य विहितः स देवादि स्थान प्राप्ति हेतुः अपि सन् ईश्वर अर्पण बुद्ध्या अनुष्ठेयमानः सत्वशुद्धये भवति फलाभिः संधिवर्जितः. Bhagavan says that this pravritti dharma, the actions which are mentioned in the Vedas, the duties which are revealed to human beings, Bhagavan says if you fulfill all your duties, you will be able to fulfill all your desires also. Bhagavan says you can fulfill your desires by performing your duties properly. People have desire to attain things in this world, people have desire to attain things in other world also. But Bhagavan says if you want to gain moksha, you can perform these duties offering them to Ishvara. So when we do this as with Ishvara Arpan Buddhi, it helps to purify our mind, make us fit for Nivritti Dharma. See, when we perform an action, through action we can attain a lot of things. What are the things we can attain? Through action we can produce something which was not present. We can produce something new through action. Utpadya. like various productions we as human beings we do, various factories and all things are there where we produce, even from earth we produce grains and crops and different types of plants and all. Through action we can also change things, we can change. So if you look at this world, we have changed so many things. Where there were mountains, we have put different roads are there. Where the river was moving in one direction, we change the direction of the river to go to some other direction. We can bring about changes in this world through action. We can also what you call transform this world, make it better. We can make things better. It's called samskarya. Like we build a house, we paint it, we decorate it. The builder gives us a plain house, but then we decorate the whole our house very nicely. We paint different rooms, different colors. We have our furnitures, we have decorations on the wall. So we beautify it. We make it more beautiful. So through action we can modify things, we can make it more beautiful. That's called samskar. And through action we can attain, we can go somewhere. We can go from one place to another. We can go from one level of our evolution to another level. We can go from one loka to another loka. All these things we can do through action. It's called, we can create, we can change, we can transform, we can go, we can reach somewhere. But if we want a moksha, moksha is not something which can be created. Moksha is not something which we have to change. Moksha is not something where we have to transform. Moksha is not something which we have to go somewhere to attain it. Therefore, moksha is not under the purview of karma. Moksha is not a product of karma. Moksha we have to experience, moksha we have to recognize. To recognize our own nature as we are is called moksha. So when we perform action, dedicating all our action to Ishvara, it helps to purify our mind, we become fit to gain knowledge and finally gain abundance and to become free. So Bhagavan says, that this is taught in the Vedas, the path of pravritti, about our duties and how we can dedicate our duties to Ishvara, and then the path of nivritti, how after gaining knowledge we can gain abundance in our own self, how we can surrender to our own self. So imam dviprakaram dharmam nishreyasa prayojanam paramartha tattvam cha vasudevakyam parabrahma abhidheya bhutam visheshatah abhivanjayat vishishta prayojana sambandha vidheyavat Gita Shastram. So this Gita has got this twofold dharma revealed in it, pravritti dharma and nivritti dharma, and it's a very special text. So Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji says, कि यतः तदर्थे विज्ञाते समस्त पुरुषार्थ सिद्धि. When we understand this Veda, this Bhagavad Gita, we will attain all our purushartha, dharma, artha, kama and moksha also. Those who want dharma, they can attain dharma. Those who want kama and artha, they can attain artha and kama. And those who want moksha, they can attain moksha also through this Bhagavad Gita. Ataha tad vivarane yatna kriyate maya. Therefore, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji says, I have commented on this Bhagavad Gita. I have put forth effort to comment on this Bhagavad Gita because it will help all of us to attain our Purushartha. So briefly, that's what I wanted to convey today. Introduction to Bhagavad Gita, more about the beauty of Bhagavad Gita and the teachings of Bhagavad Gita we will see in our future classes. I will continue to share my thoughts and the teachings of this Bhagavad Gita and also of other scriptures through this Facebook and other social media, because in this lockdown period this is the best way of sharing our great knowledge to all of you. So please stay home, stay safe, stay happy, and may God, may Bhagwan bless us all. Hari Om. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya 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 Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम.